And I remember sitting there in April of the first year, and we had planned this 4-day institute, and we didn't have a penny. And I said, I had tears in my eyes. I said, what are we going to do? And I remember Jeff said, doesn't matter. We'll make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. We'll make this. We'll sleep on the floor. And I was thinking, okay, we're going to bring professionals together. And it's kind of that same thing that we do in school districts. We figure out a way because we're creative thinkers, we're problem solvers, we rarely have funds to do what we want to do or believe should happen to make the arts essential to every kid's learning and being and growing up and processing. So, and then funding came through. A little bit of funding came through, we made it happen, and then we built on that. Like I said, we went deeper and wider. The second phase is not only the opportunity for teachers to create those workshops and go out there and do them, and there are about 40 presenters this year, and it just keeps kind of building on that, and the districts are now looking at those people and saying, you are leaders, and we've ignored the arts, so can you step up and take this on? And so that's what we see is happening in little pieces in districts across the state now. Our teacher leader last week in Ashland presented to the school board and the superintendent said, I had no idea this is what you do in arts education. You need to present to the superintendent's group. And and then the next night she presented to the parent-teacher organization, and now she's presenting to all the visual art teachers in Aroostook County. So, building on, finding a place, taking on that leadership. We infused creativity into the 4-day institute this summer, because what I've noticed is that the STEM initiative is starting to talk about creative problem solving and creativity, and they're not including the arts in that. So it's this narrow view in my mind, in my opinion. And so in the Maine learning results, creativity and creative problem solving is only in the arts standards. It's not in any other content area. And so, at some level, I said to the teacher leaders, we own creativity, and we need to articulate it and be intentional about it in our teaching. And so at the end of the institute, that was the piece that the teacher leaders said, wow, this was the best part of the institute for me. And so now they're intentionally looking at it, viewing it, and thinking about, how do I assess this? I know it's integrated. How do I intentionally do it? And I heard Don Savitsky from the Department of Education say in the overarching pieces that he says to school districts, so where are you actually intentionally teaching, and what evidence can you show around the guiding principles? And nobody can give him that information, supposedly. And I know that the arts people can do that. If they were asked, outline this, articulate this, write it, share this, I'm certain, confident that they could do that, because it is an integral part of what goes on.
Or these are the ways in which you will teach the arts. So we empowered them, and that was the really critical defining difference on their part, because we had no idea how many people would show up to an assessment conference that we put on. In fact, we were a little worried that nobody would come, because it isn't sexy.
It is too.
Arts
Come on. Jeez, stop.
They're used to coming and getting their hands on projects, and they love that. And this was not that. So when we had 230 arts teachers show up, we went, oh my God, because.
So we created some internal formulas to identify those schools. And as a not super quantitative person, I won't talk a lot about that, nor my sort of philosophical belief about identifying schools that way, but so be it. And so we looked at those schools that were able to